Good evening, and welcome to Here's the Life with Zemrah and Ed at IntellectualRadio.com. And we are here. We were hoping to have Memnon Warrior join us, but unfortunately, he had a situation where he had to fill in for one of his coaches. So, what we want to talk about during this time is people and decisions, making decisions. Do you make good decisions for yourself? Do you make bad choices for yourself? How do you determine the decisions that you make are really beneficial for you and those around you? Because a lot of times we always think about what's good for us, which is understandable because, a lot of people believe in that self-preservation. But is the decision really based on something that's going to be practical, wholesome, just like with for your life, like a lot of our young people, the decisions that you make, will they really and truly be beneficial for you?
Or really, how much thought do you even give it?
Right.
Before you make a decision.
That's the most important thing. Do you really meditate? Do you really think out your thoughts? Or do you just make quick, rational decisions that really don't make a lot of sense? And you say, oh, well, I can correct it, or let me just try this. But you don't really, like you're saying, Ed, you don't really and truly think it out. Why do you think that people don't have forethought? Like if I before I make a decision, I ponder over it. In which I'm older, of course, but even you have some older people that really and truly don't really think things out, and I think that's why you wind up having a lot of issues financially. You wind up having a lot of decision, uh, you know, things that happen within relationships because of decisions that you make, quick decisions without thinking. And I think about that all the time. Why do we make the decisions that we make and not really and truly think them out?
Well, when you think about it, all of life is just a collective of all decisions. Everything that happens to you and everything that you experience is just a product of decisions that you make,
Yeah.
good or bad. If someone does something to you, I always tell everyone that 60 or 70% of it, everything that's happened to you is your fault. Because well, I didn't do that, they did it to me. Well, but you allowed it, you introduced them to your life, they in your life, and you gave an opportunity to do it. So therefore, it was partly your fault. So you really can't talk about the people in your life. You can't talk about your spouse because you invited them in, you accepted them, and you qualified them, and now they're part of your life. So now you complain about how they act.
Yeah.
But you should know that in the beginning, and you should, like my dad used to tell me, you should measure your words. And I said, measure? He said, well, like you do anything else. You take out a ruler, you lay it down, and you see just how big it is, how small it is, and you measure it before you say it. Decide, is this going to be helpful or hurtful? Is it going to be my advantage? Is it going to do me some good when I say this? How is the person going to react to this? And is that going to be good for me or bad? Or is it not going to be good for anybody?
So then that's the another
you measure your
area
word.
of
You
decision making.
Because you think before you speak. Most of us speak first and we think about it later.
Yeah.
Afterthought. But you should measure everything you say. In other words, I always give myself at least 10 seconds before I respond to somebody who just says something really negative to me or really out of the way. Because my thing is that they're probably doing it on purpose just to get the reaction. And I decided I was not going to give them the pleasure of reacting the way they want me to react because they probably already know. And they're just trying to egg you on and ruin your day and tell you something really negative about you or somebody else or what they don't like about you or some bad news. And so before I respond to it, I give myself 10 seconds to think. How should I? And sometimes the best response is none at all. Give the person a chance to repeat what they just said, because it may not be what you thought they said. You say, well, could you tell me what you really meant by that? Say that again. So you're trying to tell me, then repeat what they just told you.
Yeah.
So you telling me that you didn't like the way I did what, and why didn't you like it? Before I get mad and start going off on the person, measure it and ask them
And think.
and think about your life and everything else before you do it. Some of us don't ask questions about other people because we don't like the answers, or we scared we're gonna get something negative. But you have to be adult enough to accept all answers, good or bad, yes or no. So you can't just expect a yes every time you ask somebody something. Expect to know. Then ask them, uh, why'd you say that? Or, so what do you have against that? So I'll know next time exactly how you feel and the kind of person you're. But you can't figure out how a kind of person it is if you don't ask questions and then accept the answers. Most of us ask questions and we already got the answer in our head because we know what we want to hear.
Yeah.
But accept whatever they say because people will tell you who they are if you listen.
Now, what do you think about people making the decision? Because we're talking about decisions that you make. What do you think of people that make decisions to hold grudges? How does one bypass holding grudges? How does that? How can a person think that that benefits them to hold on to grudges?
Well,
How can one understand that making a decision to hold a grudge towards someone? How do you feel that you can prosper or even grow by holding a grudge about something?
some people when they hold grudges, they have a belief that the grudge, holding a grudge against the other person, hurts the other person. They think that's holding something back from them, but actually, it's holding something back from you because you're the one got to hold it. It's like carrying dirt on somebody else. You're the one gonna get your hands dirty. You can't hold anybody down in the pit unless you get in there with them. So you are the one that's getting hurt. You just don't know it. So holding a grudge actually is holding on to a negative vibe that's destroying your spirit.
Yes.
And you don't know it because it affects you. And anything negative, you should try to figure out a way to get rid of it and eliminate it from your life. Because all it does is slows you down from your good and from the progress that you should be making in your life. Because you only got so much time and so much energy. You only got so many heartbeats in your life. You only got so much energy to expend every day. And then you get to choose how you spend that energy. You can
That's
spend it.
what's awesome.
You can
That's
spend it.
choices
It's
again.
choices. I can spend it yelling and screaming at this person, and everything I say and do to them, it's not going to change them. No matter what I do, it's not going to change. I could beat them up, try to beat them half to death, shoot them. I could get violent with them and everything. I could hold a grudge against them.
Shoot them head.
I mean, people do that out of passion because they didn't think about it before they did it.
Yeah.
They thought about this person hurt my feelings. He made me angry. They cheated, whatever, cheating out some money, but nothing's worth violently jumping on somebody unless it's in defense of your own life. Other than that, it's a waste of energy. It
Yeah.
actually is. I can't. When people say something wrong to me or something I know it's not true, it's not even necessary to respond. It's a waste of my energy
Yeah.
to even respond to you. And that really comes to their skin because they're waiting on some kind of response so they can feed off of it. And they use the negativity to carry on more negativity. So if you don't feed it, it has to die on its own weight. A lie has to die on as long as you don't add to it. If you don't respond to it, it has nothing to feed off of.
Yeah.
So
And I
that's it.
think a lot of times people really and truly um, get away from understanding the understanding of that. They I don't know if they look at it as a weakness or I see it as uh, insecurity when you cannot be able to recognize wrong decisions that you make for your life.
Well,
And it seems like you just see more and more, just like with all of the violence and everything that's going on, those are decisions that you make that are necessary, that can avoid a lot of stress, a lot of headaches for yourself. That makes it very difficult.
but they don't see that as the making a decision. I just did it. That's just the way I am, man. I responded. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
that's,
Okay.
that's not real
Yeah.
because you didn't even think about it. You don't think if you thought about it, you probably wouldn't do it. And most people do not want the limitations of their actions being held down by reason.
But
That's
I think sometimes people even think about it and still think that they can make that decision to do that or make that move and think that the outcome might not be as bad as it might seem, or however, but they sometimes they think about it and still proceed on with that decision.
well, that thought process is a manifestation of their own creation.
Yeah. And
So
so like you say, you wind
no,
up doing it to
they'll
yourself.
think about it and they'll create a situation where they actually reason it out that it's good. The mind cannot do anything that's unreasonable unless it rationalizes it and come to a conclusion that it's not so bad. It has
Yeah.
to do that. Otherwise, it cannot do it. If I'm going to take and brutalize or put this person down, I have to convince myself that it's worth it, that that's my duty, that I'm doing the universe a favor by mistreating this person or teach this person a lesson, which people never learn because once you reach past the age of 9 years old, you ain't changing anything.
Once you reach the age of 9 years old,
As a young person, if you've been on this earth 9 to 10 years, your personality and your spirit is already formed.
I can see that.
The only thing that's going to change it is that person. So if you sit now arguing with somebody who's 40 and 50 years old, you are wasting your time because they are
Exactly.
not going to change. They've been that way for the last 50 years. They are not changing for you and for the sake of your argument just because you think you're right.
Yeah.
So you can be right or you can be happy. So leave it alone. These people are not changing. I don't care how much argument you give them. Only thing that changes the person is when this person decides they are going to change themselves.
For themselves, and that's the truth. And you cannot, like we were talking about that, you cannot want more for somebody than they want for
Well,
themselves.
see, we waste a lot of our energy and our life energy trying to change other people
Yeah, I
and,
can I
and
can see that.
hoping that they'll get better and making ourselves sick. Like it says, it's like anger and hate and violence. It's like, you know, drinking poison, hoping the other person gets sick or die. It doesn't work that way. You are doing it to our whole life is being done to ourselves. Our whole creation of what we think is reality is brought on by what we think it is.
Yes.
And reality is never as as good as your imagination. So you can make up things and think this person likes me, and think this person is caring and dreaming about me, and think this person has my back, and hope this person I can trust him with my life. And then you find out it's different. Then you upset because you didn't investigate. You didn't try. You didn't what it's called put this person to the test. And we don't do that because we're afraid of the results. If I see somebody that looks nice, they dress nice, they talk nice, they got a good job, they keep themselves up, and they have terrible, terrible habits. But you don't know that because you make
You're basing what your decision on outer.
right about physical things, but you don't look at anything else. And if you do have any idea that you might have a suspect that this person hates their parents or they abuse their children, you don't know. You put that aside. So it can't be right. You make excuses for it because you want it to be the way you think it is, that you've imagined it to be.
Yeah.
Your imagination is nowhere near what reality is.
Now, what do you think about having a word? I think that is something that is so very, very important so very urgent in life, making the decision that if you say you're going to do something, make sure that you do it.
Explain to the audience what a word is, because a lot of people don't know what that is.
Your word is your bond.
In other words, doing what you say you're going to do,
Do what you say you're going to do,
that is,
do it.
that is very, very difficult. That takes effort. That takes a lot of effort. And most of us are not inclined to put forth that kind of energy.
That says dependability and not making excuses. But if you say you're going to do something, you do it. You have a word. That's honor.
But excuses are so easy.
Yeah.
People let you slide. All you do is you go through something and promise something, knowing you're not going to do it because you know you got an excuse. You already made the excuse up
Yeah.
because you know you're going to get away with it because there's no punishment. If there's no punishment, then there's no reason to remember it.
Yeah.
That's why I try to remember when people do something that they shouldn't do or don't do. You don't have to hate the person. You don't get mad at them. You don't have to hold it against them or anything. But write it down in your mind. Make a mental note. This is what that person responds to. And I'm going to check it out and see if they do it again. And if they keep doing it, that's who they are. Don't get mad. Just categorize that and make a point. This is the kind of person that is. They're not changing for you. They're just being themselves. Your job is to create an environment so they can be themselves, so they can relax and be exactly who they say they are. So you can observe their behavior. We don't observe each other's behavior. We just try to participate in the conversation all the time, trying to get a word in. But watch the other person. See if they talk over you. If they talk over you. And they tell you everything about themselves. And as soon as you mention something about you, they just skim right over it. They just keep right on talking. Because they could care less about how you feel about anything. That's what they're telling you. And if you're listening, you'll hear that. I'm not interested in what you're saying. I'm only interested in what I'm saying. I only want you to be interested in what I'm doing. I'm not interested in what you're doing. And you don't have to get mad about it or try to compete with the person. Just make a mental note. We don't make mental notes of other people and we don't assess them or grade them or test them to find out if they will fit in your life. They may not fit. And that ain't bad. You just know where to put them. Instead of putting them on the front row, put them in the balcony.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because people, like they always say, people will tell you who they are by their actions.
Yeah, but we don't.
And
listen.
I think having a word, that's your bond.
If I say something,
that's integrity.
I got to go out of my way to make it true because I just said it.
Right.
If I don't want to do it, I got to do it anyway.
Right.
If you tell if you're a weekend dad and you tell your child that I'm picking you up on Sunday at 12 o'clock, that child is sitting waiting
there
for
waiting.
12 o'clock,
right.
looking at the clock. If you got a word, you'll be like, oh my God, it's almost time. I should be there. And if you're not there,
it's time to be called.
I make a mental note that if I'm 15 minutes, I ain't there, I got to call you because I know you're sitting waiting. Even if you're not sitting waiting, that's my principle. That if I'm going to be more than 10 minutes late, I should call you and let you know I'm on my way or I can't make it. Kids do that. And people make
because otherwise
people won't say that. People will tell you, oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But they wrote it down. In their mind, they made a mental note of what you just did.
Yeah, because in that way, you know that person is not really dependable.
But they said it's going to be here, and it's 45 minutes later, and they're just not calling me, or they're just not showing up. Right. They didn't tell me this long excuse about anything.
Right.
That's why I teach my kids, the grandkids. I tell them, if you say you're going to do something, if you're not there but 15 minutes later, I'm looking for a phone call. Right. I'm waiting on the phone call. If I don't get that call, anything you say after that means nothing to me. All the long excuses you got about, the car died and some of my friend got sick, doesn't matter. Right. Because you should have been, when you have a responsibility, you're watching the clock more than I am. You're going like, I told him I was going to be there 10 minutes. It takes me 20 minutes to get there. I better call. Yeah. That's the kind of calculation you make when you're responsible.
Right.
But we don't think that way because we don't think enough of the other person. Because that's what you're really saying. I don't think enough of you to give you a heads up to tell you I can't do what I said I was going to do. And
Yeah.
that's what you're really saying to a person. Your actions speak louder than your words.
Oh, absolutely. And that's how you gauge uh
Who's who?
the yeah, right. And I like the fact, like you said, you categorize. Well, we're here at IntellectualRadio.com with Here's the Life with Zemrah and Ed. Like me on Facebook. Make sure that you check out my music. Things are starting to open up again, which we're still going. We're putting some things in place, but my seventh concert won't be until 2022, but not this year. But I'm working on some other things, and go to Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, all the streamings, and check out Love is Possible,
Right.
because we know that love is possible. It really is.
Zemrah's going to be around for another 30, 40 years. So look out.
Yes.
Damn you, my mister. You're all I need and more, baby. He's thoughtful, insightful, and faithful, so true. He always knows just what to do. Hey, that's my mister. That's my mister. I love him, adore him, my mister. That man of mine, my mister. He's so fine. I got to have you. I got to have you, darling, my mister. Hey, honey, you're all I need and more, baby. I love the way he strokes my face, pulls me close in such a tender embrace. Hey, that's my mister. He kisses my eyes and then my mouth. That man, he's smooth, makes me hard. Hey, that's my mister.
That's my mister, written by none other than Miss Pamela Wilkes, who is one of the most awesome writers that I could have ever gotten with to work with me. She is just, her lyrics are just phenomenal.
She's romantic.
She is just phenomenal with lyrics. She's about as phenomenal with her lyrics as I have to say for myself. With she give me the lyrics and I'll make up the tune right then and there. We just collaborate so wonderfully. One of the things, right quick too, we want to make sure that we give a shout out to all the fathers.
Oh yeah.
And wish them a happy Father's Day on Sunday. We are today. Can you believe that today is the 15th? We are just June. It seems like June just started, and we are halfway through the month, because Sunday is the 20th. Yes, Sunday is the 20th. So then you got 10 more days of June, and then we're in July. So before you know it, we back into the fall.
Really? Christmas shopping?
Oh my God. I'm just telling you,
man.
my favorite time of the year
is
Christmas time.
Too soon.
But anyway, yeah. So we wish you a happy Father's Day, and just enjoy, have a good time, and yeah.
And we want to let all the good fathers out there let you know that we appreciate you, and you know you get overlooked a lot, but I know you keep on holding it down for your families, and without any appreciation whatsoever. But let you know, Ed Sherman appreciates you, man. I know you got it going on, so keep doing it.
I appreciate you, and of course we send out a shout out to all our gang brothers within our group, and wishing them all a happy Father's Day. So anyway, we were talking about having a word, talking about being decisions that you make. thinking before you just jump into just frivolous decisions where they wind up harming you and not getting you the good that if you thought something out, you would much more benefit from it. And then you were mentioning what now?
No, I was doing a break. I was talking about conflict resolution, uh, how to resolve differences, which gets into some very heated conversations and attitudes and disturbance in the universe when you get angry and can't resolve issues between two people or more. And that is a skill. And you must always have, like even in any sport, you must have more than one game plan, especially when you come to uh, disagreements with someone or somebody has a disagreement with you. You should have a playbook on how to respond 10 different ways or 12 or more than that. And once you get that in your system that I'm already prepared for conflict, it goes a lot smoother and it prevents a lot of overacting that we do.
And deep anger.
And deep anger that really eats at your very soul
Yes.
and burns a lot of negative energy. So when you learn it, you become more prepared. And when you are prepared, you become calmer and you don't react so fast because you already know the different ways that you got to choose from. If you sit down and study it, how I'm going to deal with this conflict if this person comes at me a certain way. This is forethought.
Again, decision making.
To me, making a decision. This is going to go on your whole life. Everything you do and everything you say is going to be the conscious decision that you make. It's not just automatic. So, my grandson that we were going to have on the show tonight that couldn't make it, I taught him at a very early age how to defend himself. I said, once you understand these things, you don't anger very easily because you already know you can take care of yourself. You don't guess, you already know. And it's best to know. People who get hurt or wind up reacting and shooting themselves with their own gun because they get nervous holding it. They get nervous in negative situations, in angry situations, and instead of learning how to deal with it. Like I found out, the sister found out the other sister said something about her that wasn't true. Well, you get angry before you even know the truth. You just got a hearsay. And I always say the rule is never respond to a hearsay.
Never.
Always say to yourself, whatever you heard, I didn't hear it.
Absolutely.
And I
And
wanted,
if you didn't hear it, then it wasn't say it.
right, because somebody tells me something. Did I hear so-and-so said you stole something? You're like, what? But you don't go back to the other person and tell them, I heard you told so-and-so I stole something. You just feeding it. Because if it's not true, why are you repeating it? So if you say something like that, then you just forget it. Unless someone brings it up again. I never heard that. And kill it. That's
Yeah.
one way to stab it
Oh,
and kill it.
absolutely. Yeah.
So you've killed it right in its tracks.
So that's a conflict that you can just
That's
eliminate.
That's a technique to use to eliminate negative conversation. Person, I was younger, guy walked up to me and says, you got any money? But I'm already decided how I'm going to deal with people. Because the guy asked me that one day. It was a dark street. I'm going down King Drive by myself at night, and I'm clean. And he said, and he walked past me. Yo, brother, you got $1? I said, I have several dollars. Why? So you have to understand, where they're coming from. But you know that in advance, so you don't get nervous, start shaking, and start going like, oh, wait a minute. No, I ain't got no money, man. Now, he know you lying. And you scared because you just gave off that vibe. So I told him, I said, I got a pocket full of money. What about it? So he already knows he got money and he probably going to keep it too. Because I'm not gonna mess with him.
So what did he say?
Nothing. He kept walking.
He said, I got several dollars. Now what you want, what you gonna do about that?
Right. I got plenty. What about it? So it all depends on how you handle things. You get and what I hate about today is all this electronic media and online and the web and everything. People doing Facebook and they talking about each other and they taking it seriously. This is conversation you don't even hear. They just wrote it down. People getting mad and going out jumping on people about what they see on Facebook and what they saw on the internet. This is just words that the person could, most of the time, is a bunch of lies. And people get angry and go off about what they see on Facebook.
Yeah.
Man, they got you on there. They told me that you are totally unreliable and that you won in 2 states. It's on the web. So it must be true, right? No, it's not. So why are you responding? When people say anything about you or your life and that's not true, do not respond. Kill it. Let it die of its own weight.
Yeah.
And don't even mention it again. That's not something easy to do. People say, well, no, it's not easy. Try it. Try telling somebody the truth. That's hard. Because now you got to be prepared and train yourself to accept whatever response you get. And you train yourself by going through your mind all the variations of responses that you could get.
And I think through doing that, that's how you avoid conflict.
Right. You prepare for it.
Yeah.
They teach you that in the Army. You can't have fear and fight nobody. You better know what you're doing. You have to know, if he does this, I'm going to do this. If he does that, I'm going to do this. And if he does that, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm prepared.
You strategize.
You have to strategize. That's the same way you should do it your whole life. That's what I like about doing contracting, because I had to prepare and have to figure out everything in my head myself. I don't have to consult with anybody. I consult with me. I said, this is not going to work this way. Let me figure out another way to do this. Then I can do it at my own pace, at my own time, at my own skill level.
Yeah.
And I don't have to consult with somebody else who don't know nowhere near about what you're talking about and they start telling you what to do
Right.
immediately.
Right.
So, and that's where you have to conduct your life. Sit down and tell yourself, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do, what do I do if that doesn't work out?
Have a backup.
I know I need this job. I want this job. If I go down there, they tell me to get lost. What am I going to do after that? But I put all my eggs in one basket, all my hopes in one job, when God might have more than one job for me.
Oh, yeah.
And that may not be the one. And the reason I didn't get it because it wasn't for you.
Right.
Because what's for you, you can't lose.
Right. You can always get that.
And it's the same way with people in your life. If they for you, you can't get rid of them. No matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
If they're for you. But if they're
They're
not,
really meant to be in your life,
and
they're really good for your life.
right, you can clear your throat, they be gone.
Yeah.
First sign of conflict, they be out.
Because decisions, going back to decisions too, that plays a part in making the decision of, like you said, who you want in your life. Who do you want around you, in your surroundings?
Well, you gotta control.
You pick and choose, and you can do that. That's your own prerogative to pick and choose who you want to be a part of your life.
Well,
How do they really, the decision of how do they really benefit as being a part of your life? Is it good? Can you grow from being with them or around them? And this is to a lot of young people too, as far as choosing your company that you keep. That's one thing that I give Emmanuel credit for. He's very selective in his relationships, because like he said too, he's somewhat of a loner. So he kind of picks and chooses his surroundings, and because of his ability to focus, then he's very, very careful and conscious of people that's in his circle.
Well,
because he's not a confrontational, although he is a fighter. He's not very confrontational when it comes to a lot of drama.
Well,
He doesn't like drama
You don't
at
have to.
all.
You don't have to. When you're very that confident, which is why I wanted him to take that up, because he was a little short guy in stature,
Yeah,
which means big people will intimidate you. You can't intimidate someone who has a certain amount of confidence.
right,
So I wanted him to have that confidence. And when you have the confidence, you don't scare easily, and you don't upset easily. You don't get mad easily because you don't have to, because you
right,
already know that you can take care of yourself
right,
to a certain degree. So to have the kind of training like in anything else, you need to prepare yourself. You need to study to show yourself approved.
yeah, for your own self.
Yeah, for your own self. In order to navigate the life that you're about to live, you should have to figure out, where do I want to be, what kind of person I want to be. Like I was telling our grandson the other day, I said, you have to decide starting now at 16, what kind of job do I want? What kind of income I'm going to have? Where I'm going to live? What's my furniture going to be like?
Our great
Great
grandson.
grandson, yeah.
Hmm.
What you have to decide this your image that you want to build for yourself.
Yeah,
And you've got all the time that you need. You've got free range to come up with anything you want, but you have to do it now. Because if you don't prepare yourself for everything, then you settle for anything.
right.
You think, well, this is just the world got for me. No, it gives you what you prepare yourself for,
Yeah,
and what you desire, and what you plan for to get.
and that's why decisions are very important. Making good decisions.
Your whole life is nothing but decisions.
Yes.
Every decision. What am I going to eat? What am I going to wear? What time am I going to get to work? What time am I going to get off work? What am I going to do when I get off to work? Where am I going to go? Where am
Yeah,
I going to put my energy now?
yeah.
Is it going to be for? Is it going to be for productive? Is it going to be good for me, or is it just good for somebody else?
And long range decisions are very,
Yeah,
very important.
short and long.
Yeah,
You got to have all of that. They said, well, that's a lot of brain power. That's why you were created. Your brain is bigger than any computer on earth. There's unlimited amount of information that you can hold.
right.
So feed it. And then with today's technology, it's at your fingertips. All you gotta do is ask your phone.
And it's the truth. Ask your phone and get all kind of
Any
information.
answer that you want.
That's right.
That's so so I don't understand the mentality that the world is in right now, where it's conflict, disagreements, there's hatred, racism. That's such a waste of time.
Yes.
It's such a waste of human energy when we should be enjoying life on a beautiful planet that we call Earth, that we call Gaidan, or the Garden of Eden.
But I will say this: it's biblical. A lot of things that are happening now, we're in these days.
Well, yeah, well,
I mean, it's almost like, the pandemic, all of the
it's
killings.
almost like it has to be expected,
It's in the
because
days.
people have to grow up,
Yes.
and there's no easy way to do that unless you learn by doing.
And making right decisions. I just really and truly, that's what I had wanted to talk about, have been wanting to talk about, is decision making. And then, like you said, making and knowing conflict and how to resolve. And that is so important.
Otherwise, you will fear it.
Right.
And fear it means that your reaction could be anything.
Right.
Scary, because you don't know what to expect. 'Cause
Right.
you come up with any kind of reaction.
All
But
the
if you are-
mass killings and I mean, what are you thinking?
But if you already
What
know
are
the
you
action,
doing?
why are you getting angry with somebody else because they said they want to be with you and you found out they were somebody else? Let them go.
Yes.
Come
But
on.
these are the mass killings are just a decision to just get out your car and shoot because somebody, road rage
That's-
and you have to understand that all of these decisions are conscious decisions that you make. And a lot of times people want to put it off as mental anguish and
sometimes they're unconscious decisions. They just do it. They don't even think about it. They've trained themselves to respond automatically or to respond to a certain situation.
and that's still a decision to
that they
respond.
learned from society and on TV and on the media tells them how to respond. If you catch your girlfriend kissing somebody else, this is the way you want to respond, because they show it to you all the time on TV.
Now that is true.
They tell you how to respond, and you learn it, And you grow up, that's the way you respond.
That is true.
They tell you what's good. They tell you what's bad. They tell you, let me tell you how to recognize beauty. And they show you, and if you don't look like that, you ugly. That's what they're telling you. And you soaking all this up in your brain as a young person, you started getting
Till you
programmed.
explode.
Yeah. And then you start finding out that's all wrong. Now you know what to think. Now you want to commit suicide. Because you just went to Middle East and saw people killing people every day and saw pieces of bodies all over the ground. And you said, I'm in hell. I can't live like this. And now 20-some guys every day are killing themselves
Yeah.
because they can't take the pressure.
Yeah.
That's hell. You ain't got to go to hell. You ain't got to die and go to hell. You living in it.
Yes. And that is what is really getting to be kind of scary.
Oh, it should be scary because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. But people are not going to change until they get tired of it. Like,
But again, we talk about conflict and resolving.
That's
And
what-
so people have to understand that, it starts with you. You just have to
like the
know
old farmer-
yourself, do what you can
like the
do.
old farmer said about the hound dog sitting on the porch. He said, what's wrong with your dog? He said, what? He said, because he's sitting there growling, whining. He said, what? He said, what's wrong with him? He said, he's sitting on a nail. And the guy said, he said, why is he sitting there? He said, he said he won't move because it ain't hurting bad enough yet. Things don't happen until it hurts bad enough. You
Yeah.
don't move or make any move in your life until you make up your mind and tell yourself, I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah.
Other than that, it'll continue just the way it is until it gets hurts bad enough.
Yeah. Well, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So we are here at Intellectual Radio. We're here every Tuesday from 6 to 7. We got some great guests. Matter of fact, we've got the Bobbitts coming back and Anita Godwin coming back to talk more about money. And Ed and I have some other great conversations. And hopefully we can get Memnon Warrior to join us if possible next Tuesday because he'll be in LA on the 25th.
Right.
So his next upcoming fight is in LA on the 25th of this month. So we'll see what happens. If he can make it next week, his schedule's pretty tight. It's always exciting when we can get him to join us. So we'll see what happens next week. And anyway, we are going to say, watch how you think. Make sure you think before you react. And always throw away the thought of grudges, holding grudges, and understand that what you hold on to, you distract from yourself. You want to make sure that you can grow, that you can do the things for yourself and manifest good things in your own life. And that means not getting caught up in a whole lot of drama and a whole lot of things that don't benefit you.
But there's good news. It's getting better. It's going to be absolutely great.
But only you can do it for yourself. That is very important to know that we can only do things for ourselves. That's why it's important to know that you got to make the right decisions. So on that note, we're going to wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day. Enjoy and get all that good love from those that say they love you. Grab it all and take it all in.
The one
So
that
with
say
that, we'll see you next week.
And I just want to thank my man Earl, the producer, the owner, and the director of this entire studio for giving me a chance to beat myself again.
And we tell Wanda B, we love her.
Baby will make things right. I love you, my darling. I love you with all of my heart. That's why